Sony has reportedly scrapped a God of War live service game due to Concord's failure, and it's not the only game that got scrapped or only live service game that got scrapped. Wrote this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. Encourage you to head on over, become a paid subscriber where you can get articles like this, read articles like this every single day. We cover everything from video games, movies, television shows, comic books, tabletop gaming, comics, and more. Costs just $5 a month. That's less than a Starbucks coffee, and you get around 8 to 10 articles every single day. So let's get into this. It was originally reported by Jason Schreier and Christopher Palmieri at Bloomberg that Sony shut down 2 live service games that were in development at Bend Studio and Bluepoint Games. This is what the two wrote in their coverage. Sony Group Corporation's PlayStation has canceled previously unannounced games at 2 of its top subsidiaries. The company said Thursday the games at Oregon-based Bend Studio and Texas-based Bluepoint Games were both live service projects designed to have recurring revenue from players. In a post to Blue Sky, Schreier claimed Bluepoint Games was working on a God of War live service game. He wrote this: PlayStation fans have speculated for years that Bluepoint's new projects since the well-received PlayStation 5 remake of Demon's Souls. I can report that from 2020 to 2022, they were helping on God of War Ragnarok. Since then, they've been on the live service project that was canceled today, now unclear. A Sony spokesman confirmed the cancellations after Sony did a recent review of the projects. The spokesman added this: Bend and Bluepoint are highly accomplished teams who are valued members of the PlayStation Studios family, and we are working closely with each studio to determine what are the next projects. So these 2 projects have indeed been canceled. Of note that Schreier did not include that they were working on the God of War game in the actual Bloomberg report. He only reported that over here on Blue Sky. So I'm not really sure why he didn't put that in the Bloomberg article. Anyways, following that report, we got this from Jeff Grubb on his Jeff Grubb's Game Mess show. And this is what he said. He said, "This happened because of Concord. Let's be clear. That's what I've been told. That is real. It is because of Concord," he reiterated. It is Sony is shell-shocked from Concord, and now they're going around to every studio, and they are reassessing every single project. And if it's a live service project, it has a lot of friction going against it, preventing it from getting a chance to actually come out. He later added that new pitches for live service projects are unlikely to get greenlit. This is actually in contrast to what Sony has actually said. So if you recall, Concord was shut down less than 2 weeks after the game released. Game director Ryan Ellis wrote this on the PlayStation blog. While many qualities of the experience resonated with players, I think it didn't even reach 700p concurrent on Steam. We also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6, 2024, and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. About a month and a half later, Sony announced it was shutting down Concord developer Firewalk Studios. This is what Sony CEO Herman Holtz said. As part of our ongoing efforts to strengthen Sony Interactive Entertainment's studio business, we have had to make a difficult decision relating to 2 of our studios, Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios. Speaking specifically to Firewalk Studios, he said this: regarding Firewalk, as announced in early September, certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players. And as a result, we took the game offline. We have spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options. After much thought, we have determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. I want to thank all of Firewalk for their craftsmanship, creative spirit, and dedication. Of note, he said in the post that the company would, quote, continue to advance our live service capabilities to deliver future growth in this area. So that is what he said at the end, I think it was October when he wrote that over on the Sony website. And now we're hearing from Jeff Grubb that he's saying that new pitches for live service projects are unlikely to get greenlit, kind of contradicting what Herman Holtz here said when he announced the closure of Firewalk Studios. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I actually think it's probably accurate what Grubb is saying here, that they are going through and looking more closely at these live service projects, given the absolute disastrous failure of Concord, and maybe looking at it at a closer eye, thinking, will this actually be successful? And I think it's possible that the God of War one, they looked at what happened with God of War Ragnarok, right? The game released on Steam just a couple of months ago in September. It only hit a peak concurrent of all-time peak concurrent of 35,615. So to compare that to the first one that they released, or the not the first one, but like the rebooted version one, or the first in the North Story, whatever you want to refer to it as, which released back in 2022, it had 73,529 all-time peak concurrent. So more than double what Ragnarok had. So maybe the brand there for God of War isn't as popular as what Sony might have initially thought, and they decide to scrap that live service project because of maybe these results as well. Now, obviously, that is just me speculating and sharing my opinion there, but hard not to imagine they didn't factor that in to this, especially when we're seeing all of these studios are trying to kind of get PC players to play their games. We're seeing that from Sony. We're seeing that from Xbox. Pretty much everyone, I guess outside of Nintendo, are trying to get in on the PC market because it is so huge at this point. Lots of sales to be had. That's why they are releasing these games to PC now. But that is the latest. That's the rumor. These two live service games, one of them being a God of War game, were scrapped by Sony, and Jeff Grubb is claiming it is because of Concord's failure that they have been scrapped. I'm of the opinion that live service games can be extraordinarily successful. I think the folks over at Hoyoverse prove that. They show that they can make a lot of money with those live service games. Obviously, those are gacha games. I think you can see the success of Marvel Rivals as well. There are obviously a lot of games that do really well with kind of live service things. Even Ubisoft's Rainbow Six Siege does really well too. So I don't think there's anything kind of bad about live service models when it comes to the model, right? The model is obviously proven. There are successes in it. Now, do I think that model is a good model? I think there's aspects to it that are a little bit exploitative and can probably be corrected, but I'm not against kind of providing pay stores and things like that. You look at Guild Wars 2, even World of Warcraft, right? You paid $15 a month, or I don't know what it is now, but that's what you used to do, and you would get updated content every now and then, and they would release expansions. So is that considered live service? So I think that model's been around for a long time. I'm not really against it. I think there are some aspects of it that have been more exploitative in recent years. I think a lot of the gacha games are kind of lean more towards that exploitative nature, but I do think that there is obviously opportunities there for live service to do well. So I think if they are just going around and canceling live service games, I think that they probably should get some better people in charge, but I doubt that that's what they're doing. I think there are probably other things that they're looking at. And again, that's why I wanted to bring up these numbers here from God of War, showing that title, that brand might not be as strong as what Sony thought, and it clearly doesn't seem to be as strong as what it was just a couple of years ago. I mean, looking at the all-time peak concurrent here with Ragnarok, less than half, again, of the God of War game that was released to Steam just 2 years ago. And we know there are more players on Steam now, too. So that means they had a wider audience and they got even fewer people. But anyways, let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth. And never forget that everything woke turns to